Okay, when I'm not sick, my voice actually does sound like that. It's really funny. So again, thank you all for being here today. Victoria is going to be helping me out a lot today, as obviously my voice gets a little shot pretty quickly right now. So welcome. And we're just thrilled to see you. And tonight we're going to be really speaking about our board as well as membership in the Pinellas County CoC. So Victoria, I'm going to turn it over to you for a minute if you don't mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. So hi, everybody. My name is Victoria Kelly. I am the Manager of Organizational Advancement at the HLA. And thank you all, like Monica said, thank you all for being here today to learn a little bit more about our Board of Directors. I am happy to say that we do have a couple of our board members here on the call with us. We have our Vice Chair, Councilmember Deborah Figgs Sanders, here with us today, as well as the CoC Board Secretary and Providers Council Chair, Ms. April Lott from Directions for Living as well here. So we will go ahead and jump on in. Please feel free to ask questions as we go through this. We do have some things that we're going to get through for today, but this is an opportunity to learn to ask questions and to find out a little bit more and see where and how you and your organization can fit into the CoC and the board. So we'll go ahead and jump in. All right, so this is the Board of Directors information session. We will be having a board election on January 12th, and our board applications are available right now. Those were the QR codes on the first slide. Don't worry, you'll see those QR codes a lot throughout this presentation. And board applications will be due December 22nd. So if you want to serve on the CoC board or renew your membership on the CoC board, please make sure that you fill out that application. You can also go ahead and nominate somebody else if you happen to know somebody who you think is a great fit. Might just mention it to them first. So today we're going to go through a little bit of an introduction to the CoC, an introduction to the Board of Directors, the actual applications, and then some additional opportunities to be involved in the CoC. And then, of course, we'll have an opportunity for open questions at the end. So let's jump on in. So let's start off with, what is the CoC? The CoC, you'll hear us call it that a lot. That stands for Continuum of Care. Continuum of Care, they are all over the country. They are mandated and monitored by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. And here in Pinellas County, we as a county are one CoC, and the HLA, we are the lead agency in the CoC. What does the CoC do though? Well, we get together, we collaborate, and we try to end homelessness here in our community. The CoC is responsible for promoting a community-wide commitment to ending homelessness, to developing long-term plans to address homelessness, to promoting access to and effective use of mainstream resources. That's really important. We have lots of resources out there, but do people know how to access them, and can people use them? The CoC wants to make sure that that's the case. And then, of course, applying for funding. Funding is really important. We can't do any of this work without funding. So that's one of the things that the CoC is responsible for. In Pinellas County specifically, the Pinellas CoC, our mission is to make homelessness rare, brief, and a one-time experience here in Pinellas County. We also follow the Housing First philosophy. That is something that you will hear a lot about. It is in national news right now, Housing First. This is a federal philosophy, policy, and it is really focused on the idea that everybody is housing ready. There aren't preconditions to housing because housing is the first step. So we don't have preconditions like program enrollment or service necessities. Folks can get into housing and access services from there. And that's how we maximize stability and make sure that we are really truly ending homelessness in our community. In the Pinellas CoC, We have a lot of different members. The entire idea here is that this is a diverse group who is working together to end homelessness. We need everybody's voice in the room. So I can't thank you enough for being here today and adding your voice to the mix. Our CoC members include individuals who have or are actively experiencing homelessness, nonprofits who are, homeless service providers, boots on the ground, faith-based organizations, government agencies, local businesses. We have elected officials here on this call with us right now. We have some business owners, concerned neighbors, and just anybody trying to make a difference. How I describe the CoC is, instead of us all pushing different boulders up that hill, everybody you see on that list gets together and focuses on pushing the same boulder up the hill so that we can make real change and progress here in our community. Sorry, a little frozen there. Oh. Sorry, y'all. My computer had a moment. Okay. So we also have various boards, councils, and committees within our CoC that the members here are a part of. Not every member is a member of a committee, but if you want to be, this is a great opportunity to really get involved. We have the board of directors, the executive committee. Executive committee is going to be the chair, the vice chair, the secretary, the providers council chair, and the funders council chair. And we also have the Funders Council, Providers Council, an advocacy committee that is just starting up, the Data and System Performance Committee, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, Lived Experience Advisory Committee for folks who have or are experiencing homelessness, the Point in Time Planning Committee. Point in Time counts January 25th for anybody who doesn't know, and the Youth Action Board, which is getting fired up. So there are tons of opportunities for involvement, not just the board of directors. If you see something on this list that really speaks to you, if you are a data-driven person, please get involved in the Data and System Performance Committee. We need all hands on deck. Nope. I think somebody is. Are y'all having a little bit of a hard time hearing me? No? Okay. Hopefully this is better. If not, please let me know, because I did get one message saying that my audio was a little bad.
We can hear you pretty well.
Okay. Okay. Let me know if that changes.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
Of course. Of course. So a little bit more into CoC structure, and then we will really get into the meat once we get out of the structure. But I did want y'all to know what on earth we're talking about before we get into the nitty-gritty. So the CoC board of directors, or the CoC is led by the board of directors. That's what we're really here today to talk about. The board of directors is 19 to 31 people. I think it was 21 in 2023. I think our board is 21 people right now. And that board of directors leads the CoC in collaboration with the HLA. As I mentioned earlier, the HLA, that's the organization I work for, is the lead agency in the Pinellas Continuum of Care. What does that mean? That means that the HLA is responsible for organizing planning activities. The HLA leads the coordinated entry process, which is that front door for services. And we oversee planning of the annual point in time count. We are also the HMIS lead agency. HMIS is the Homeless Management Information System. That's a database that a lot of providers use. And we are the collaborative applicant. That's that funding application that we were talking about. And we take care of the HUD NOFO application. The board of directors, which again, what we're here to talk about today, they are elected to act on behalf of the CoC. So our board of directors, they develop written standards to prioritize programs and populations and establish and monitor individual project and system performance. The board of directors executive committee, like I said earlier, includes the chair, vice chair, secretary, providers council chair, and funders council chair. Currently, our CoC board chair is Councilmember Kathleen Beckman. Our vice chair is Councilmember Deborah Fix-Sanders, and our secretary is April Lott. And the board also goes ahead and makes sure that the HLA are on top of everything that we need to be on top of and are doing everything that we need to do for the CoC. CoC members. Everybody. Our membership is January 1st to December 31st. We do follow the calendar year. If you have not renewed your CoC membership in 2023, please do so now. We must renew our CoC membership by December 29th in order to vote in the January 12th election. So please, if you have not already, go ahead and renew your membership or join now. And you can do that by going to the website on the screen, or if you take your phone and you point your camera at that funny little box on the screen, the QR code, it'll prompt you to open the website. And of course, outside of just voting for our board of directors, being a member of the CoC means that you get to serve on the board of directors, you get to serve on the councils and committees, you might get to access HMIS, additional fees and applications may apply. And you can access other CoC benefits. Other CoC benefits include volunteer assistance, resource sharing, training, all kinds of things. So please let me know if you have any questions. My email is there on the screen. Okay, before I move forward into anything else, is there anybody who has a question? I don't see any coming in. All right.
Hey, Victoria.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, it's April. I don't think I saw it. Do you think it's worth, talking about just the federal kind of legislation around, the requirements of having a CoC, the Hearth Act? Do you think any of that's relevant to this group or no?
Sure, absolutely. I think that there is some valuable information there. April, do you feel comfortable talking about that a little bit?
Well, I mean, I could, I just do want, everybody who's here to know that there is, a federal language around the requirements of a CoC and, how CoCs are to govern, loosely anyway, and it's called the Hearth Act. I don't know if you could put it in the, maybe a link to the Hearth Act in the chat, but there's some real meat to the Hearth Act and what is required of CoCs. I just want to make sure everybody understands that it's not that we just make it all up ourselves, right? That there really is some expected consistency across the country with how their continuums of care operate, what their legal obligations are, those kinds of things.
Thank you very much, April. And I did go ahead and pull a link for the Hearth Act, and that is now in the chat in case anybody would like to check that out. And if anybody has questions about that, this is also a great time to ask.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, April. I appreciate the input. All right. Moving forward then. Let's talk about the board of directors. So specifically, the board of directors, or the BOD, as you might see them written, they're responsible for making policy decisions on behalf of the CoC by evaluating needs, implementing strategic responses, and measuring results. The board is also responsible for a lot of approvals. So a lot of work gets done in committees, which I'm pretty sure April, as the chair of the Providers Council, could tell you about. A lot of work gets done in committees. That work then, for the most part, goes to the board of directors, because the board of directors includes a very diverse group: healthcare providers, nonprofit providers, folks with a lived experience of homelessness, government officials. It is a diverse group trying to work together and bring a really holistic view of the needs of our community to the forefront and to the table. So the work done in committees, a lot of it comes to the board of directors, who then evaluate, ask questions, and do a lot of approvals for priorities, benchmarks, a lot of system-wide planning efforts, and of course, rankings for that HUD NOFO, which is the Notice of Funding Opportunity. Our board members, well, I might have gone through some of this already. Again, we're supposed to represent a diverse group. We want to have as many voices in the room as possible, is the best way that I can describe it. Our board members must live in, work in, or serve Pinellas County. That is key. You must live in, work in, or serve Pinellas County, and you have to be a CoC member in good standing. So if you have not renewed your CoC membership in 2023 or haven't joined, please go ahead and do that today. There were, I was right, 21 board members in our 2023 CoC board. We'll probably have roughly about the same number next year, but we might have a few extra. And then our board, we do encourage board members to participate in CoC councils and committees as well. So it's not just the board. We do encourage, not require, but encourage folks to participate in other councils and committees. Our board members are elected and appointed. We hold annual votes of confidence for the appointed seats. So there are elected seats, and we will do those on January 12th at the CoC membership meeting. And there are appointed seats. I'll go through those a little bit more later. And those are appointed by the board of directors who hold a vote of confidence. So that's one of the things that the board that we elect will do. They will hold a vote of confidence. Board terms are 2 years long, up to a maximum of 6 years. If you are on your 6th year on the board, please be prepared to take at least 1 year off so that we can get some new voices in, some new people at the table, and then come back to us the next year. We don't ever want anybody to disappear. We want everybody to stay involved. Our term limits, of course, are staggered, and our appointed seats hold no term limits. Our board meetings. I know this is going to be a big question for folks. It is important that anybody considering applying for the board know what the time commitment is. So our board meetings are 2 hours long, and they occur bi-monthly. So every other month we meet in person, currently at Habitat for Humanity in Clearwater. We also have, if you're on the executive committee, a monthly meeting. And then if you are a member of councils and committees, there may be meetings on top of that as well. But again, the councils and committees are not required. The required time commitment is absolutely every other month, 2 hours, currently in in Clearwater, Habitat for Humanity. We do require in-person attendance for board meetings because we need that for quorum. So if we have 21 board members, we need at least 11 board members at every single board meeting in order to get any real work, any action items done. And our board members can't miss more than 3 meetings. So if we have 6 meetings throughout the year, board members, you must be at least 3 of them. Of course, we ask that you be at a few more than that. And if we also ask that our board members attend at least 50% of CoC membership meetings. So if we have 3 meetings next year, well, if we have 4 meetings next year, which we are, we ask that you attend at least 2. So that's the time commitment. I want everybody to see that. I want everybody to know exactly what it is. Are there questions about that? No? Okay. All right. Y'all are a quiet bunch today. All right, we'll go into the election then. What on earth is the election like? So the election will be January 12th. Location is still to be announced, but I promise I'll get that to you. And we ask that to vote, you attend the meeting in person and join or renew your CoC membership no later than December 29th. You must also pay your dues by that date. So if you are paying your dues by check, please don't wait until the 29th. So Again, please renew your membership now. You can do that by pointing your phone's camera at that funny little box on screen. When it comes time for the elections, on the day, on January 12th, we will go ahead and present our nominees. Our nominees will each have a few minutes to speak and may invite people to speak on their behalf. And then we will do a roll call vote. So if we have two nominees for one seat, let's say the veteran seat, we will introduce both of those nominees. Each of them will have an opportunity to speak, and then we will do a roll call vote. So I will go down a list of members and we will do our vote. And that's how we will do elections. Our timeline, so that you know what to expect. Board applications are already available. They are already online. So please go ahead and fill that out if you haven't already. These are due by the end of the day on Friday, December 22nd. On Friday, December 29th, CoC applications and fees are due. That's the membership application and fee. On Friday, November 5th, by then, if not sooner, you will receive your ballot announcement. This will also be posted online. We want everybody to know exactly who's running so that you have time. We don't want this to be a surprise. We want our members who are going to vote to come knowing who's on the ballot, have questions prepared if you want them, have the opportunity to research folks if you feel like that's what you want to do. This is an election. This is important. The board plays a huge role in our community. So we want to make sure you have all the information. So again, by Friday, the 5th of January, if not sooner, everybody will get that election information in email. On January 12th, we will hold our CoC election. That'll be the morning of January 12th. I promise I will give you more details as soon as I have them. And then immediately following that membership meeting and election, we will go right into the first board meeting of 2024. And during that meeting, I think we'll go ahead and do the appointed seats as well. Okay. So what can you run for? There are a number of seats up for election or re-election this year. Some of these seats do have folks who hold them who will be applying for re-election, but that does not mean that you cannot apply for them. I think that a little competition is a good thing. So please, please, please apply for anything here that you think fits. Our at-large members are just members of the community. You do not need to be a homeless service provider. You can be, but you don't need to be. You don't need to be a business owner, but you can be. We have 2 at-large seats for any member of the community. We have 1 business seat that is a Pinellas-based business. Again, remember, you have to live in, work in, or serve Pinellas County. A faith-based organization. Again, you don't have to be a homeless service provider here as a faith-based organization. We have a seat for healthcare, EMS, or fire. So if you are a healthcare provider, please consider applying for this seat. There is a great need in our community, and I think that having somebody fill this seat on our board would really help address that. We also have an open seat for a housing authority provider. So if you are a member of a housing authority, please go ahead and consider filling that. We have 2 seats for folks who are currently experiencing or have formerly experienced homelessness. These folks who fill this seat must have experienced homelessness within the last 7 years. That is a HUD requirement. That is not something that our board decided. That is something that HUD up in DC has said, this is what you got to do. So we do require that the folks who hold those 2 currently or formerly homeless seats have experienced homelessness within the last 7 years. We have a seat for transportation or workforce development, a seat for a veteran or a veteran organization. And I don't know if y'all know this, but Pinellas County has the highest rate of veteran homelessness in the country for a community our size. Veteran homelessness is a pervasive issue in our community. It is something that we see year after year. Having somebody fill this seat is important. We need that voice at the table. In a non-entitlement community, what does that mean? It just means you're not in Clearwater, Largo, St. Pete, Pinellas Park, or Tarpon Springs. So these are the seats that are up for election or re-election. And I can't really stress enough how important these are. I want to talk a little bit more about the currently or formerly homeless seats as well. It's really important to the CoC board that we follow the idea of nothing about you without you. Anybody who decisions are being made for should be present in the room and have a voice in the room where those decisions are made. So if you have experienced homelessness, if somebody you know has experienced homelessness and you are up for serving on our board, please do. This might be the most important seat, I think, on our board, because folks who have experienced homelessness are the experts. And experts, well, they're who we should all listen to. So that's those. Please feel free to take a picture of that if you want to. I can also go ahead and post this slideshow online afterwards so that you can access this information later. Our appointed seats, again, these seats are not elected, but you do need to apply. You do need to apply or reapply for these seats. So our vacant appointed seats are Chair of the Funders Council, the City of Clearwater, the City of Pinellas Park, the City of Tarpon Springs, Pinellas County School Board, and the Public Defender's Office. If you work for any of these organizations or municipalities and want to get involved in the board, please do not hesitate to do so. Again, a vote of confidence will be held during the Board of Directors meeting on January 12th. And this is the same application. So you don't need to do a separate application if you're applying for an appointed seat. It's the exact same application. And here they are. I just wanted everybody to have the opportunity to see all of the applications on one screen. So here they are. Please do not hesitate to go online. I'm going to read these to you. I apologize, but I'm going to do it for anybody who is listening and not looking. It is the new board application is www.bit.ly/capital C, lowercase c, capital C. That's CoC. BOD. CoC BOD. www.bit.ly/CoC BOD. We have the renewal board membership applications. Those are available at www.bit.ly/BOD renewal. And again, BOD is Board of Directors. That's www.bit.ly/BOD renewal. And then, of course, if that's a little bit much, just go to www.pinellashomeless.org/PinellasCoC and you'll find it there. So I'll move on to the next. And of course, my email is there as well. Everybody should have it because, well, that's how you got to this meeting, I think. But just in case, it's vkelly@hlapinellas.org. And of course, board applications are due December 22nd. Membership applications are due December 29th. I apologize, but if you apply to be on the board of directors on December 23rd, I cannot accept that application. And if you complete a CoC membership application on December 30th, you will not be eligible to vote in the election. I apologize, but that is what it is. That is a part of our charter, and those are dates I must stick to. So if you complete your CoC membership application on December 30th, you can neither vote in the election nor be nominated. You must complete these applications by the deadlines. Any questions? I'm flying through this because y'all are so quiet. All right, I must be doing a great job. All right, so for the next additional opportunities So we obviously have a limited number of board seats. Not everybody can serve on our CoC board of directors, and not everybody wants to serve on the CoC board of directors. So how do you get involved? How do you make an impact if that's not the right path for you? Join one of those councils and committees we talked about. This is where a lot of the work of the CoC gets done, in councils and committees. We are currently seeking a chair for our Funders Council as well. So if you look at this and you think that advising the CoC board on funding of services and coordinating local and community-wide planning sounds fun to you, join the Funders Council and maybe even join as chair. The Funders Council meets 2 times a year together and then 4 times a year with the Providers Council. So this council meets 6 times a year. And again, I think it's really important that folks know what the time commitment is. So I did go ahead and put the meetings on each of these slides. Our Providers Council is very, very similar. Our Providers Council advises the CoC board on services, highlights concerns and actions, and meets 6 times a year. These meetings currently take place in person in Clearwater as well. Data and System Performance Committee. This committee reviews HMIS data and system performance measures, informs best practices, recommends priorities, and meets every month in person in St. Pete. This committee is really responsible for digging into the data, looking for trends, looking for errors or ways that we can improve, and just trying to make things better that way from a data standpoint. Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. They also meet every month in person, currently in St. Petersburg, and they provide insight into and develop strategies for promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion within the CoC. I think that we all know how important it is to be an open, welcoming set of organizations. We really need to make sure that folks are treated with respect and represented well and equitably. So that's what the DEI committee is there for. And then Christine, I did see your question, and I promise I'll come back to it after I do the committees. I didn't want you to think I'd ignored it. So the Lived Experience Advisory Committee, LEAK, is probably what you'll hear me call this most. The Lived Experience Advisory Committee is the committee where folks who have experienced homelessness can really get together and focus on the needs and priorities of that group. We absolutely encourage folks who have experienced homelessness to be members of every board, council, and committee, because again, no decisions should be getting made for people in rooms that don't involve the people decisions are being made for. But the Lived Experience Advisory Committee is the committee where a large group of folks with this experience can come together and set priorities and plans, and really work on addressing the needs of the community from the perspective of the community. And we meet every month in person. Our next meeting will be next week in Pinellas Park. The Point in Time Planning Committee. I don't know about y'all, but are you ready for the Point in Time count on January 25th? I'm getting there. The Point in Time Planning Committee. We do not meet all year round. We meet July through February. We do a lot of work in those 8 months though. We have committees, we have subcommittees, and we work on planning that point in time count event in January that takes 350 volunteers and brings in millions of dollars for critical resources. Oh, and we do meetings hybrid for the Point in Time Planning Committee. The Advocacy Committee, Review and Rank Committee, and Youth Action Board are not currently meeting, but we're working on getting that together. So if these sound appealing to you, please, please, please let us know. The Advocacy Committee will, of course, advocate on behalf of the CoC. The Review and Rank Committee is responsible for reviewing and ranking applications for that Notice of Funding opportunity from HUD. They meet towards the end of the year. The Youth Action Board, well, that's a Lived Experience Advisory Committee for youth, for folks 24 and younger. And of course, the point in time count. I don't want to beg, but I'm not above it. So I'll beg you a little bit. Please register for the point in time count. Please ask everybody you know to register for the point in time count. This is a huge event. It takes, again, 350 to 400 volunteers. And on one day in January, January 25th, we go out and teams of trained volunteers survey our neighbors experiencing homelessness all across Pinellas County. Teams of volunteers will go to areas like meal sites, bus depots, resource centers, libraries, and complete surveys of neighbors experiencing homelessness. The data that is collected through these surveys goes on to inform local, state, and national policy. This makes a huge difference, not just in our community, but for the entire country. If you hear somebody in DC talk about the number of folks experiencing homelessness in Pinellas County, they get that data from the point in time count, which you might hear us call PIT. So it's really, really important. Also, it secures millions of dollars for things like affordable housing and supportive services. Please, please, please do like LaQuail and register for the point in time count. Thank you, LaQuail. I appreciate you. Shifts for this are only 3 hours long, and then there's a 1 hour training. So for the sake of 4 hours, you can help secure millions of dollars for our community that will help end homelessness in our community. So the registration for that, www.bit.ly/2024PIT. You can also go to www.pinellashomeless.org/PIT, PIT, to learn more. And then, of course, there's a little flyer for you and a little bit of information about the point in time count. If you would like one of these flyers to go ahead and share with your organization, please let me know. I am happy to share that with you. And then, of course, our cold night shelters as well. Cold night shelter season just started. Cold night shelter season started March 15th November 15th and ends March 15th. Cold night shelters are pop-up shelters all across our community, all across Pinellas County, that activate when the feels like temperature hits 40 degrees or colder. So we are not open tonight because we have not hit that activation temperature. But when we do activate, these shelters, which are largely resource centers, community centers, churches, push all of their furniture back. Volunteers come in, put down mats, serve meals, and make sure that our neighbors have a warm, safe place to sleep at night. And we need a little bit of help. We need volunteers. We need folks to partner and provide additional space, to help provide transportation, to make sure that our neighbors can get where they need to go. Maybe host a blanket drive because, oh goodness, do we need blankets? So there's a lot of ways to get involved outside of just the board, but cold night shelter is a really, really good one. Last year alone, we were open for a total of 6 nights, and we sheltered 2,200 people over those 6 nights. It was pretty awesome. So that is the Cold Night Shelter program, and you can scan that QR code on screen to learn more about that as well. And then final questions. I know that Christine Long had a question about what positions are not currently eligible for re-election. But I must confess, Christine, I apologize, I don't have that list right in front of me, but I can say that our chair, vice chair, and secretary are not up for re-election this year. Those positions were elected last year and the year before, so they have one more term. We have, you know what, Christine, I apologize. I'm just not sure beyond that is the answer to the question off the top of my head. I would really have to look at the list. There is one housing authority seat that is already filled, as well as a couple of others that are already filled as well. And yeah, as Dr. Monica Lesnick said in the chat, we'll make sure that we can send a list of currently held and vacant seats to all attendees so that you have that information, because it is a good question. My apologize for not knowing the answer. Are there any other questions? This is not speak now or forever hold your peace. I am available to answer questions after today as well. But if you do have any questions for me, or maybe for a member of our board, because we do, again, have a couple of members of our board here on the call, this is a great time to ask.
If I can jump in, Miss Kelly, that would be
Absolutely.
appreciated. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for coming, and Victoria, you did a phenomenal job. You really did not leave a whole lot of room for questioning. You were very clear, concise, easily understood. And so I want to thank you for the presentation. And so, Monica, we have a keeper here with Miss Kelly. She did a very good job, and I appreciate it. And I want to encourage everyone to please get active, and especially on the board level if you can, because we really do need your expertise, your talent, your time, and the contributions that you can bring to CoC. So, but again, I really wanted to thank you, Victoria, for a wonderful presentation.
Me a second to get unmuted there. Thank you so much, Councilmember Fig Sanders. I sincerely appreciate that, and all that you do as our vice chair and for our community. Thank you. Are there any other questions, comments?
You have a question in the chat.
Oh, we do. Sorry, I have participants over the chat right now. Sorry. What if you are not a shelter program? Great question, Heidi. Thank you very much. So absolutely, if you are not a shelter program, there is plenty of space for you on the board of directors. The CoC is not just about emergency shelters. So absolutely, we would encourage somebody who perhaps is a nonprofit organization to apply for maybe the at-large seat, one of the at-large seats. If you are a veteran-based organization, who is not an emergency shelter, apply for that veteran seat. This is not limited to homeless service providers. This is not limited to emergency shelter providers. This is not limited to funders. We want to make sure that there is a truly diverse group of folks in the room having conversations, making decisions, and ensuring that our community has what they need. Let me see, are there any other questions? Oh, wonderful. Thank you to our LEAP committee member who is considering applying. We would absolutely love to have your voice on the board of directors. And of course, April Lott has put in the chat as well, apply to be a member of the Providers Council if you are a provider, or the Funders Council if you are a funder. Absolutely, April. Thank you very much. The work does not end on the board of directors. So if you think that you should fit into one of those councils or committees, please, please, please join. And you're welcome, Monica, for talking for you. Monica, unfortunately, is not feeling very well. So you'll have to forgive her for her texting today. All right. Are there any other questions? All right. It doesn't look so. Again, if you do have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, to Dr. Lesnick, to a member of our board. I know that I'm happy to answer questions, and I'm pretty sure I can safely say that all of them are as well. So thank you very, very much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to learn about our board, and more importantly, for caring about the community. I can't thank you enough for that. So thank you very much. I will give you all back the rest of your day. We got through this all quicker than I expected. So I hope that everybody has a wonderful evening. Thank you all so much. And I will absolutely make this recording available afterwards.
You're a rock star. Thank you.